Good afternoon, my fellow Americans. I stand before you today, not as the President of the United States, not as the leader of this nation, and not as the man in charge, but as a citizen of these United States of America. As parents, Michelle and I pride ourselves on ensuring and maintaining the health of our children. As I see my children growing healthier and stronger every day, I can't help but notice the staggering statistics and factors that deter the health of our nation. We are gathered here today to witness and to tell the story of the American nation. At this day and age, we as a nation have entered war. Not the war of the worlds, but the war in the ways of man. It is evident that in America, where we hold a majority of the world's most obese cities, that our health remains to be the most prevalent and life-threatening issue in America. As it remains, we as a nation are the largest consumers in the world. However, consumers are not the only people who are affected. The relationships between factory workers and factory owners over time has proven to be an indirect link to our faltering healthcare system. Given the ailments and abuses that have been and still are forced upon both workers and consumers at the hands of indignant capitalists and corporations, a new program must be enacted in which grants are provided to promote and to reward healthy lifestyles. Business activity is restricted, chemical usages in foods are barred, and workers are insured and protected. In 2006, Morgan Spurlock will create the film Super Size Me, the humorous yet serious documentary that takes a personal approach and shows viewers firsthand the dangers and risks of dining at fast food restaurants, specifically McDonald's. In Spurlock's documentary, he took the ultimate McDonald's challenge. The ultimate challenge of binging on McDonald's for a month. There were several rules that went hand in hand with this binge. First, Spurlock was only allowed to consume 3 square meals a day. Second, he was only allowed to eat food from McDonald's. And third, every time Spurlock was asked whether he wanted to supersize a meal, he was to say yes. Throughout the McDonald's binge, Spurlock's health was monitored. Within 30 days of eating nothing but McDonald's, Morgan had punctured his liver, rose his cholesterol by more than 50%, and gained 24 pounds. The case study of Morgan Spurlock showed how unhealthy the citizens of America are and how unhealthy we are becoming. Should we allow schools and corporations to serve our children unhealthy deep-fried foods on a daily basis, then the case of Morgan Spurlock will become a reality for our children. The case study of Morgan Spurlock brings me to our first call to action. We must provide grants that promote exercise in primary and secondary schools for 3 out of 5 days a week or more. We must reduce the amount of fried foods that are cooked in the schools. In questioning the alliance between big business and Congress, Spurlock uses his work to delve into the lawsuit that 2 teenagers filed against McDonald's. In 2002, Joseph Stent filed a lawsuit against the McDonald's Corporation on behalf of 2 teenagers from Bronx, New York. Stent's clients argued that McDonald's was serving them hot processed foods that affected their health. The chairman of the House Judiciary Committee rebutted that it is not the place of the law to protect them from their own excess. At this point, Congress believed that it was up to the consumers, not the fast food corporations, to monitor and to protect the health of consumers, especially those who knew the dangers of the food. To add insult to injury, Spurlock goes on to include Congress's response to the case. In 2004, in response to the case, Congress passed a cheeseburger bill which stated that people could not sue fast food restaurants or companies for making them obese. In Fast Food Nation, Eric Schlosser alluded to the loyalty of the Reagan and Bush administrations to the industrialists. And also the documentary of Morgan Spurlock and the lawsuit of Joseph Stent both point out the alliances between big business and Congress. These alliances initially show how conspiracies have gone into effect in order to protect grimy fast food industries. In order to protect our people and to promote a healthier nation, The federal and state governments must show no tolerance or sympathy towards fast food industries. Second, we must implement limitations and restrictions on business activities. The government must be held accountable for appointing certified and credible officials to run factories and to be employed as the nursing staff of said factories. In 1979, a man by the name of Kenny Dobbins worked at the Montfort Slaughterhouse in Green Island, Nebraska. One day, Dobbins was severely injured on the job and suffered from severe back pains. Afterwards, Kenny was sent home and eventually hospitalized. After returning to work, Kenny was injured and hospitalized several times more, until eventually Kenny was left in pain, without workers' compensation, without a pension, and without employment. In 1990, Kevin Wilson was injured at the IBP Slaughterhouse in Council Bluffs, Iowa. When Wilson reported his injury to Diane Ardent, one of the company's nurses, he was told that he experienced a minor injury. Seeking a second opinion, Wilson went to visit his personal doctor, who had said that he suffered a major injury and needed to be excused from work for days. Outraged by the lives of the nurses, Wilson entered legal combat with the IBP Corporation. The lawsuit would soon award him $2 million afterwards. The case of Wilson versus IBP disclosed controversy of falsified testimony from IBP workers. It was later found that the workers were under the influence of the safety award system. Under the safeguards of the safety award system, officials who were higher than workers, such as nurses and supervisors, would lie in court in order to reach the financial benefits from their employers. Kenny Dobbins is one of the many workers who were harmed by the industry. In addition to appointing new officials to run these factories, a new bill must go into effect in which all fast food companies are allotted one restaurant per block. By reducing the number of factories and supplementing them with healthier and affordable options, we will initially be steps closer to achieving a healthier and stronger nation. The lives of Kenny Dobbins and Kevin Williams allow us to see, as Americans, the dishonesty and lack of integrity that plagues our nation. I do not doubt that our moral has grown since the turn of the century. However, the lack of integrity that factory owners possessed at the time has put workers at the mercy of factory owners for over a century. These robber barons have long witnessed the injuries of their own workers and have gone so far as to cover up the injuries and leave thousands of deaths unreported. A new plan must go into effect in which the federal and state governments work successfully and effectively to protect all workers. To avoid further injury and abuse, all workers are to join a union upon employment. Having workers join a union will force factory owners to respect and value their workers. Supplying the factory with unionized workers will secure the rights of the workers and decrease and halt the amount of deaths and injuries that occur in factories. Just as we strive to protect workers, the federal and state governments must protect consumers. In order to protect the consumers, the people of our nation, no leniency or tolerance must be granted by the FDA. Tolerance of any tantalization of any product directly affects children. Various industries appeal to children through advertisement and cartoons, such as Jack in the Box. In order to sell more burgers, fast food restaurants like Jack in the Box and McDonald's have advertised to these small children. Ultimately, these fast food restaurants have lower-end consumers with the promise of efficiency, convenience, and affordability. They cause health problems and complications as well. The same children that McDonald's and Jack in the Box and several other industries target in their advertisements suffer greatly after consuming their products. In 1992, Lauren Beth Rudolph was admitted to the hospital on December 24th after dining at the Jack in the Box restaurant. Over a period of 3 days, Lauren suffered from pains and had 3 heart attacks that claimed her life, all at the age of 6 years old. As it turns out, young Lauren consumed a burger at the Jack in the Box restaurant that was tainted with E. coli. In an effort to raise capital and raise profit, fast food restaurants have exposed children to life-threatening diseases. The industrialists, under the authority of Congress, have advertised and supplied the public with chemically processed and tainted foods, and it is handed to the hands of consumers over the counter. The FDA must have a zero-tolerance policy for fast food companies and go so far as to inspect all food before it is dispatched from the factories and handed into the hands of consumers. The careless industries are to blame for the ruptured healthcare system. Contemporaries Eric Schlosser and Morgan Spurlock combine research and media to present profound and stunning information to the American public. In the 20th century, employees were treated with disregard, and others stood back and watched as the meat packing industry began to claim hundreds of lives. In addition to claiming the lives of employees, the meat packing industries and fast food industries will eventually affect the health of hundreds and claim the lives of millions. It is up to us as Americans, as women, men, children, as parents, as teachers, and as students, to hold the federal and state governments accountable, as well as ourselves, and work towards reforming America. Together we can reform the healthcare and improve the health of our nation. We can also set the stage for a healthier nation and set the foundation for a new generation as we implement the new policy of health over industry. Thank you.